What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we're talking a little bit about Celsius and what's going on over there because they have now officially paid off their full loan, which puts their liquidation price at zero. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions going on right now, but I do want to talk about my thoughts, exactly what I think is going to happen, and why I do believe that this is generally better for the cryptosphere and, as a whole. Okay, so let's not waste any time at all, and let's get straight into today's video. So of course we did see just about 45 minutes ago that Celsius Network has completely paid off its Bitcoin loan. Their liquidation price has dropped to $0. Now if we do go over to DeFiExplorer.com, we can see here that their collateral is 0, debt 0, ratio 0 of course, so that means that their liquidation price is 0. Now, a lot of people are speculating and saying, well, is this because they used customers' assets to pay off the loan? Did they take on another loan? Where did these funds come from? Now, of course, I don't have the answer to that question, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. But personally speaking, with all of the bailouts that we've been seeing in crypto recently, I'm under the assumption that they got another loan from somewhere else. Maybe it's FTX, maybe it's a bank, maybe it's one of the people who were kind of interested in acquiring Celsius. I do believe that someone recognized that there was the opportunity to make a very good interest on a loan being handed out to Celsius over time, and they took that on to somewhat bail them out for the betterment of crypto in general. Now, people are saying things like, well, a win for Celsius is a win for crypto. And then there's a counter argument saying, well, Celsius is a Ponzi scheme. Shouldn't they just die? Well, let me talk about why I do genuinely believe that this is good for crypto. Now, the reason I do believe this is good for crypto is the effects that their liquidation price had on the market in general, then kind of coiling up and creating a domino effect to make it even worse. Now, what I mean for that is let's think back to whenever this liquidation price was $14,000, $15,000. What we noticed was that if we went over to Bitcoin, Bitcoin was absolutely tanking. We were extremely aware that many of the market makers, many of the big whales, many of the people in control were actively attacking that liquidation price, pushing Bitcoin's price down in order to try to attempt to liquidate Celsius to then finally be able to get some of those sweet Bitcoin that they had for a much cheaper price. Now, if you don't believe this, just look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance absolutely tanked from June to the end of June, or the beginning of June to the end of June for about 2 weeks as we started to see this happening. There is no reason for Bitcoin dominance, which is the total control of the market that Bitcoin has in comparison to, basically by taking the ratios of its market cap compared to the total market cap. There is no reason whatsoever for Bitcoin dominance specifically to fall this strongly unless some type of manipulation is happening. And so considering the fact that we were quite aware that Celsius had a very public liquidation price, it was easy to determine that they were then being attacked by other whales trying to liquidate them. So in my opinion, now that we have a liquidation price of 0, now that we can see that there is no standing liquidation price on their loan, I think this kind of stops the incentivization for whales to attack Bitcoin and to maybe cool down this market a little bit as that narrative does run dry. I do believe that that has contributed a lot to what we have seen in the market, right? As people were attacking Bitcoin, as we were seeing Bitcoin falling as they were attacking Celsius, that then kind of adversely started to affect our altcoins and started to make them fall as well, bringing the total crypto market down. This was not a good thing for the market whatsoever. So whether or not they did use customer funds, which is fraud in my opinion, or whether they did take on another loan, the fact that we have cleared the narrative of whales attacking their liquidation price very possibly could slow down this bear market that we have been seeing raging rampant, especially over the last month. Now, overall, let's talk about customer funds. Let's talk about my money, your money, everyone who is holding money on them. Personally, there is no way, of course, for me to know what happened there. But I can tell you what we need to look for. What we need to look for is one of two things. We either need to, one, look for a release of the loan that was paid to, or that, the new loan that they took on to pay off that Bitcoin debt. Or two, we need to come to a realization by them posting some type of update and saying that customer assets were used to pay off the loan. If this is the case, let's talk about both scenarios and what that means for us. The first one, if they took on a loan, to pay off their debts, Realistically, I think that there is the potential for them to open up withdrawals again, but I don't believe they will open them up all at once. I think we could see something like what happened with Bitfinex way back in the past, in which they release small increments time after time again, so that although they are losing money and although they are getting all of these withdrawals, they're not just opening up the floodgates and everyone's withdrawing at once, because realistically they'll just freeze it again and then we'll be back to square one. My guess is it could be like 1 to 2% every week or something of that nature, which will stop people from mass withdrawing while also still being able to collect their rewards that they were receiving, etc., etc. So I believe that if they did take on another loan, that's the highest likelihood and probability that we do go ahead and see our withdrawals opened up again in the future. Now, this may also be accompanied by some type of bankruptcy, maybe a Chapter 11. I don't really see a Chapter 15 happening or Chapter 7, not yet, at least now that they have paid off their loans, but maybe we could see some type of bankruptcy get filed in order for them to kind of restart and restructure the rest of the loans that they have and the rest of the debts that they have, especially to some of these venture capitalists. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that either, similar to what we saw from Voyager, but again, that doesn't mean that the overall funds are gone forever. Now, obviously, if it is the secondary scenario, right, in which they did use our funds to then go off and pay that loan, that means our funds are gone, okay? That means that Celsius in itself is still collapsing, it is not safe, and it is not coming back. Their whole game plan with that would have simply been to make themselves more appealing. What I mean by that is they paid off this huge Bitcoin loan that they had, and then that makes them more appealing to then other countries or other companies to acquire them, and Celsius be done with it, again, wash their hands of it, they want nothing to do with it. If that is the case, of course, we could still then see that another company acquiring them could pay off all of the assets that customers had purchased, but I don't understand why that would be a good business decision for anyone. And so for that reason, I'm not that confident that that is exactly what's going on. I do think it's more likely that if they did use our assets to pay off that loan, they were trying to save the crypto space as much as possible. But at the end of the day, Celsius is just completely done. So at the end of the day, I think what we need to pay the most attention to right now is how is this loan paid off, and I do believe that news will come eventually. If we don't get that news anytime soon, no news is bad news, okay? So I'm going to continue to update you guys if you would like. If you want me to, I can let you guys know exactly how this is transpiring, what's going on, and how we can expect to see our funds or not see our funds in the future. Of course, just let me know in the comment section if that's something you're interested in. But with that said, that's going to be about it for today's video. Of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.